What is going on? I'm Zedmont. We are going to be doing some crabbing. Now, those of you who have been here for a while know that I love my crab with garlic butter, but that's not going to be the choice today. We are going to do it with an HQ17 account, and the reason for that is there are a whole bunch of people that have modified their statues and make crabbing look incredibly easy, but that is out of reach for the average player. So I'm going to try to do my best to show you attacks that you can follow, attacks that are going to be easy, and attacks that are going to work incredibly well. At the same time, we're going to use those strategies to get some upgrades in. I've got my iron storage back here going up. I've also got some Grenadiers upgrading, trying to get this base upgraded. Nonetheless, let's get in, do some mega crabbing. So, first of all, always need to let this warning be known. Those cryo bombs do damage. They will murder your troops mercilessly. And for low levels, there's nothing worse than watching those things explode and vaporize all of your troops. Now, if you're wondering why the heck I'm using Grenadiers, it's because Grenadiers miss a ton, and those missings can be used to your advantage in so many ways. They remove mines, they destroy buildings. Now, they are outranged by sniper towers and mortars and boom cannons, but most of the time those kind of buildings have other buildings in front of them, or in this instance, they're low levels. Now, if you're wondering why the heck I'm using Everspark, the reason for that is her passive critter ability is going to keep getting those critters rolling. They're going to keep standing in front of our Grenadiers, and they're going to clear mines as well. So we do not have tribes on this account. Tribes are going to be super amazingly awesome for max levels or anyone who's above HQ18. It's also a great way to refill your raw crystals, but this is only HQ17, so we do not have the tribes. Going to be crushing all of these bases. Now, I do recommend boosting up some statues, simply because it's going to let you get through more stages, and more stages are going to give back more powder. Typically, you can wait a little bit to boost, though, just so that you get a bigger window, because, I mean, no one needs to boost to get these early stages down. Even if you are like HQ 10, you can likely get these stages down just by using creative GBE usage. I mean, drop brick in the bottom right corner here. Don't have to drop any troops. Hold off on dropping troops because they can actually end up hitting mines. And then you just kind of watch as the critters destroy all of the buildings. Do not use any troops at all until you absolutely have to. One thing to be aware of, though, if you're using tanks, you're going to need to save some gunboat energy, because it really sucks to have used all your barrages, all your artilleries, and then try and drop troops and not be able to do so. Also bombardiers and stuff, but that's later on in the game. So I like to just clear all of the cryo bombs first. That way I'm not going to get any weird surprises. I'm not going to have my troops go off and die. One thing to be aware of, though, is that they are going to get the critters out of their cages. They're not actually called cages, but I can't think of the name offhand. Now, you'll see that I'm using the universal remote. With Everspark, probably want to use the critter swarm, but I like to keep the universal remote around just in case I need to get rid of a boom cannon or something like that that's just behind the core. Something along those lines. I'd highly recommend Grenadiers, though. And the beautiful thing about Grenadiers is that you rarely ever lose a troop. They're going to be missing, they're going to be clearing all sorts of things, but they have lots and lots of range, plus they have a decent amount of health. Now, I like to have 2 boats of medics. If you have a couple extra troop health statues, you could go down to 1 boat of medics, but I don't really see the point. Generally speaking, all you need is 1 boat of medics. And look at this, they're just cruising, sorry, 2 I should say, and you're not going to get a huge return by having only 1 boat of medics. Some people like to go to 1 boat of medics with Kavan. I am not a huge fan of Kavan. Using his second wind is great, but it also then draws him forward, and Everspark hanging out back here with the potato masher throwing Grenadier guys just works so well. It really depends on your usage, but I find that I lose fewer troops using Everspark, and I do have instant training on this account, but typically speaking I don't on my lower level accounts, so keeping troops alive far more important than getting a couple extra riflemen or a little bit extra healing from Kavan. So you notice that sniper tower would outrange all of our troops, but it's too busy dealing with all of Everspark's passive critters. So do spend your gold upgrading your heroes. She's going to get more critters out. Actually, not more. She has a max of 12, but they're going to come out a little bit quicker, and that makes a bit of a difference. Any sort of usage of gold should be taken advantage of here. Now, one more usage of gold is do not attack any players on your map. Now, what I would suggest is scout them, though. You need to have a look at them. And when you scout, this person you can see has not done any crabbing. They have super, super low resources. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in to my comments and I'm going to give them a big, fat thumbs down if I can find the thumbs down emoji, just like that. And now I know before the end of Crab, I need to replace that person because they don't have very good loot. I'm going to go into the other person here, check out their resources. And they're doing pretty darn good. Look at that, 316,000 gold. That is pretty awesome for a low-level base. We're going to give them a thumbs up. And that way, you know, once Crab is over, I can go raid those bases and I essentially get all sorts of Crab loot for days and days to come. Do remove NPCs because they're just wasting space. But don't remove players unless you're pushing victory points, of course, but that's a whole different ball of wax. We're talking about 99% of players out there. Most of you want to try and keep your victory points down below about 470 because once you get above 470, you get into the deep end. So the average player should have about 10 victory points per XP level, which means you're not going to get into the deep end until about XP 46 or 47, which means you'll be well on your way to HQ 19. Anyways, that is a whole different topic. If you have any questions about maintaining your victory points or balancing your victory points or what the heck I'm talking about, please don't hesitate. Hit me up in the comments. I very likely have a video that can answer it. And if you don't want to watch a video, I can chat with you in the comments as well. We'll take a bit more time, but it will get the point across eventually. Now, one other note is don't get too focused on what you're doing over here. Have a look around. You can pick up all sorts of free gunboat energy usually, and also every building you're going to destroy is going to do extra damage to the core, which is going to help you take the core down a little bit sooner. Now, with Grenadiers, we're going to have to be very, very cognizant of the fact that we cannot burn through any shields, so you need to keep your eye open once there start to be some shield generators. We're going to have to go on a bit of a walkabout, find those shield gens, or just use our gunboat energy to get rid of them, because you're not going to burn a 3 million health shield using level 3 Grenadiers. That is for darn certain, and that's where you might want to mix in a boat of Zukas or something like that, but for this instance, not likely a good use of troops or landing craft space. So we're actually going to let the Grenadiers pop those back. You know what? We're not. We're going to go like this. I'm going to throw a shock out here. Now, I like to drop Everspark first, and the reason that is that way you're getting your critters out as soon as possible. These Grenadiers are going to pop that boom mine. They're also going to get those critters out from behind, which are going to help with that sniper tower. Now we've got a bunch of extra critters heading out. There is nothing else for us to do here. You could force close the game at this point. I like to use all of my gunboat energy before force closing. That way you're not you're not wasting it. I like to clear mines, like to clear sniper towers. I could close the game right now. The game would then simulate what's going to happen next, and we are not likely to lose any troops. Now, obviously, you can't use gunboat energy once you force close, but it's a good way, if you have instant training, to burn through these early stages as fast as you possibly can, because especially if you boost it, it's going to save you a couple minutes worth of boost. We don't have that problem because we have not boosted quite yet, so we're just going to barrage all of the things and just wait for our Grenadiers. Like, we've lost, I think, 0 troops on this so far. You shouldn't really lose a troop until stage 10 or so if you're watching those critter vats closely and using them to your fullest advantage. So, a Mega Crab has turned into a bit of a monotony. It's I don't think I used that word correctly, but it's not what it once was. Mega Crab was once every 3 or 4 months. It was super interesting, and they kept putting a whole bunch of dev work into making it new and interesting and exciting. And now we've kind of just got into this mode where Mega Crab is just kind of rinse and repeat. It's the same things over and over again. So for max levels, Mega Crab really is just a source for powder. I don't think people push or enjoy it all that much as they used to, or maybe it's a bit of clout where you can say, hey, I was number 1 on the leaderboards. I used to push on the Mega Crab, but no longer, because it just doesn't have that same sense of enjoyment for me. So if you're pushing on the Mega Crab, let me know what stage you're pushing for. If you're trying to be the top in your task force, top in your country, hit some sort of top 10 list, you don't get trophies like on warships, unfortunately. That would be kind of neat if they were to do that. But do let me know what your goal is on the Mega Crab and why you're playing it. If it's enjoyable, I know my kids love it when the Mega Crab comes on. They push for the decorations. I already have all the decorations, so it's not a big deal for me, and I don't even put most of them out. So Mega Crab for me is a bit of enjoyment, bit of powder, and bit of interacting with all of you in the comments is really what it comes down to. Probably, maybe, hopefully, we'll do my best to do a live stream this weekend, but being as that it's the end of spring break, kind of tough. Now, once you get on to stage 10, please consider using all heavies. All heavies is not necessarily the best answer, but it's a darn fun answer, and I'm going to show the boosts right about here for those of you who are unaware of them, did not watch the sneak peek. At stage 10, we get heavy damage, and heavy damage is a fun boost because it allows troops that are full-on ridiculous to become fun, and so I highly recommend going in, leaning into the ridiculousness, and just absolutely crushing the Mega Crab using all heavies. That way when Dr. T wakes up and checks his replays, he sees the fact that you have crushed his hopes and dreams using all heavies. Now, one other thing to note is that I mentioned that boom cannons and mortars outrange Grenadiers. One more note is that cannons actually can outrange Grenadiers if you let your Grenadiers bunch up. Kind of like how flamethrowers can outrange Zookas, cannons and even machine guns and flamethrowers can outrange Grenadiers if you let them. So don't let them, I guess. We'll see this. They're going to start bunching up around that corner, potentially universal remote just in case. So likely not going to be an issue, but anytime I start to get concerned about my troops wrapping around a corner or getting too close, I tend to use the universal remote. And a bit of a waste of gunboat energy because I'm not using the critter swarm constantly or something like that, but I find that it will once in a while save a couple troops, so that's why I choose the universal remote over the critter swarm. Probably the wrong answer, but Critter Swarm likely going to be the best way, but that's just, I don't necessarily do the best thing at all times. Now, with the Mega Crab, you need to be super aware of your resources. At this point, it would probably make sense for me to stop attacking, or, now, I gotta say this, I do recommend getting that second builder. The extra builder is $4, and for mid-level players, it allows you to get up to HQ 20 so much faster, and once you get into the HQ 20 stuff, it just, things get way more fun. Now, if you're going to buy anything, or not for that matter, if you're a free-to-play player, please consider throwing Zmod in your creator code. Some of these resource bundles, that resource bundle gift right there is ridiculous. I would never buy that. This one, they seem to overvalue the classified items for whatever reason. I like to look for the extra builder sale, or the sale on the instant training. Otherwise, none of that stuff super enjoyable. I'm going to load all heavies just for weird. I don't have a troop loadout for that. Who would have guessed? We're going to do stage 10 using all heavies just because I have asked all of you to do it. It's not a good idea at all, but I just want to show you that it is likely viable. I don't even know what level heavies I have, but spoiler alert, they're probably not super high level. Now, you'll see I've got brick upgrading back here, using that gold as fast as we can in order to get all of the stuff upgraded. You should always have all of your heroes maxed for the HQ level, and sadly all of mine now are. We've got brick loaded, and her battle orders so good. Let's have a look, see what the heck we can do against this Mega Crab. All heavies coming in hot. Now, all heavies we should lose, I would guess, 0 troops. That might be a little bit optimistic, but I'm going to get rid of all of the boom mines over in here, and otherwise our heavies should just be able to cruise through all of this. I'm also going to get rid of that boom mine back there, and we are going to stay the heck away from the cannons. And now at this point, we should be able to cruise into that core and hopefully not get pummeled by all of those cannons. Now, you'll see that we don't have Everspark, which means that I said I was going to stay away from those cannons, and then I did not stay away from those cannons. So let's get over into here, away from those cannons, and see if we can't take this down. Now, we've already lost 2 heavies. I'm going to guess they died over here when I said I was going to avoid the cannons and then didn't avoid them. But you'll see, using all heavies isn't as much of a joke as I made it out to be. These heavies are doing fairly alright. They crushed that core. They walked through all of them. When you're up against mortars and rocket launchers, they just cruise on through, no problem at all. Now you see, we've been picking up a ton of powder, and this is why attacking the Mega Crab is fantastic. 1 powder there, 1 powder there, like just powder every 2 stages or so. But lots and lots of it, and powder just makes the game more fun, is my general feeling. Now, I do have an armory back here, hidden amongst my trees. Let's have a look. Our heavies are only level 15. I will be upgrading them at some point soon. Let's do 1 more stage using all heavies just to see how the heck this does. Now, like I said, need to be aware of that boom cannon back there. Otherwise, we're going to drop all of our heavies in here, and then as soon as they get into striking distance, we're going to throw that shock. Let's get rid of that boom cannon. Now, when I said you need to be aware of where shield generators are when you're using Grenadiers, that goes even more so when you're using all heavies. So we're now going to smoke all of our heavies into that back corner. We've got all sorts of gunboat energy available to us, and I'm hoping they're going to take a right turn pretty darn soon, because otherwise we are going to get absolutely pummeled by all of those mines. So now we're just going to hang out back in here. Brick has made the trip as well. Should be able to just throw 1 shock out here on the flamethrowers and then get all of these buildings in behind the core, getting rid of that shield generator. So definitely not the best choice of troops, but possibly one of the funnest. All heavies is so ridiculous and so fun. So if you're not super comfortable with smoking troops, do consider smoking heavies, because you don't have to be perfect. They have lots and lots of health, and you can't screw up too badly. They just walk over all of these mines. We had gaps in our smoke, we had problems with our smokes, and they're still just cruising right along. Kind of need instant training though. Instant training is one of those things that I don't recommend taking instant training unless you're going to get instant training every month. It's kind of like trying on the best shoe in the entire Foot Locker. Is Foot Locker even still a thing? If it is, fantastic. I used to go there with my parents buying shoes. That's like memories of every basketball season, getting new basketball shoes every second season, maybe, depending. But nonetheless, you never tried on the best shoe, because you were going to regret it. We're going to do a couple more stages here, simply because there's just so much good loot. Now, you'll see there, my flags are all on this ramp. The closest dropping spot is on that left-hand ramp, though, so you need to be a little bit careful, making mistakes so that we can have learning moments. That's exactly why I did that. If you believe that, thank you very much. That was a complete and utter lie, but I do appreciate it if you... let's throw a smoke over there. Now, you don't need to smoke all of your troops. You just need to throw a smoke on the edges so that you can dodge and weave and get the heck away from the boom cannons. Dropping on that left-hand side probably wasn't the best choice to start with, but nonetheless, we should be able to cruise on in. Now, I think that's the first Grenadier we've actually lost, which is pretty darn good considering the fact that we are now on stage 12. I think our first troops lost. Look at this. That sniper tower still not doing all that much damage. We are going to throw a shock right about there, because Once you start to get shock launchers and decent level sniper towers in, you're going to have some problems. But Grenadiers, I gotta say, please consider using them. I know a lot of people get a very, very bad taste in their mouth because every other troop you start to use in Boom Beach are very obvious. You see them shooting things in the face, they don't miss, and so you just start thinking, hey, these troops, the Grenadiers, are stupid. They miss all the time. What's the deal? And I know there were certain people, like I think Ben Tim, way back when Grenadiers first came out, thought they were the dumbest troop in the history of troops, but that is misguided. Don't listen to the haters. Grenadiers are fantastic. Now, they do require some TLC. You need to be a little bit careful at the edges, but if you can get them in the right spot, they are so good. Look at this. See that cannon? No problem at all. Outranged as our critters just head in there. Grenadiers cleaning up around the edges. Let's get rid of that cannon right there, and then our Grenadiers are going to keep crushing this core. Now, you'll notice they're clearing buildings in behind, which is fantastic. That's doing extra damage to the core, also getting us extra gunboat energy, so we can do things like pop these 4 critter containers over here. Hopefully you guys learned something, or were entertained or educated, or somewhere in between. Hopefully we managed to help pass some of your time. Today is March 26th. March is almost gone, which is crazy. 2021 seems to be scooting right along at record pace. Anyways, do let me know which troops you're using, what stage you're trying to get to, and what your goal of Mega Crab is. Some people just force close as many stages as they can to get powder. Some people actually put a lot of skill and effort into this. I am likely going to be doing this. I will be using Riflemen for stages 0 to 9, Heavies stages 10 to 19, Zookas for stage 20 to 29, all the way down. Not necessarily the best answer, but that is how Supercell designed the Anniversary Crab, so that's what I'm going to give a shot. Probably not a great idea, because these boosts from the Mega Crab aren't super useful for the actual Mega Crab, but might as well give it a shot just to see if there was any rhyme or reason to their choices. I kind of assume they weren't, but we'll have a look, see how that goes. If you'd like to see a live stream, please hit me up in the comments. Let me know what time zone you're in and when is the best for you, and I will do my best to make it so. We're going to do one more stage just so that we can finish off on lucky stage 13. Like I said, drop Everspark first. You'll see right in here, she's going to get her passive critters out. I also like to spread my Grenadiers out a little bit with the medics in the middle. That way our Grenadiers are going to do all sorts of collateral damage without having to worry too much about them bunching up against cannons and things like that. So just cruising through all of this stuff. Now you'll notice that way back here are those shield generators. So I'm going to try my best to not pop the shield generators. I mean, not pop those critters quite yet. And the reason for that is that what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a bunch of my gunboat energy to get rid of those flamethrowers and get rid of anything that's going to stop our critters from getting those shield generators, because I really don't want to have to go walking back there. So we're just going to go like this. We'll pop those critters, and now all of our Grenadiers can focus on clearing what's in front of them as our critters clear those shield gens without any user intervention on our part. So fairly easy if you plan things a little bit, but if not, those machine guns or flamethrowers might intervene, and you don't want that to happen. So no problems at all. You need to be careful though. Don't throw barrages on those critter containers, because you're going to end up killing the critters, and then you're going to have to walk all the way back there, which isn't likely to be a problem, but it's just going to add more time to your attacks. So my goal at all times is to avoid having to walk to the back corner. So I'm going to try to use critters. I'm going to try to use gunboat energy. And hopefully that'll get us to the point where I don't have to go walking all the way back there. As you can see, that shield has now popped. We can cruise right on in and take this core down as our Grenadiers are going to overthrow and hit all of the cannons and mortars and things that are in behind. So now it's time to flare the core. We are not going to worry about any of the rest of the buildings, and our Grenadiers are going to finish off stage 13. So Grenadiers, to me, are the MVP for people who do not have instant training. Great way to clear your map without losing any troops. also a great way to attack the Mega Crab without losing any troops. And saving your diamonds for finishing your upgrades early during the Mega Crab is a great way to do it. Spending your diamonds on resources or troops, less than ideal. So one other quick note is that if you're running out of time and you're worried that you're not going to get the core down, the easiest way to make sure of it is to flare your Grenadiers in close and have them finish off that core, because they're going to miss far less often if they're up close and personal. Little bit dangerous. Make sure they're not going to actually kill themselves in the process, because they like to play hot potato. But last but not least, you'll see we spawned one more person. I am always checking out those bases. This base looks reasonable. I mean, 135,000 stone, 88,000 iron is fairly decent, so we're going to give them a thumbs up. And as these bases come up with their Find New Opponent button, I'm going to quickly scroll through my map, find these people who have the thumbs down, wherever the heck that person's base is, and just click Find New Opponent, and make sure you scout them during the Mega Crab, because it doesn't actually check how many resources they have until you scout them. So nonetheless, that is my Mega Crab low level starter guide. Hopefully this has helped you out. If you have any questions whatsoever, for example, if you're wondering why there's confetti in the air, or where the heck you get these beautiful boom boxes from, by the way, you can get them right now. Do check out the cards above, because Party Island is right here and it is active for the first time in about a year. So if you're looking for a decoration, whether it be the Mega Crab statue, also called a Mega Crab trophy, or you're looking to get the boom boxes, let me know in the comments, wondering why I have trees, where the monkeys have gone. Anyways, hit me up in the comments. I shall talk to you soon. As always, I am Zedmont. Thanks for coming in. Peace!